All right, guys, how is everyone doing? Talking with now professional 1-0 Bella Mir. How are you?
I'm great. Feels
Very cool, very
good to
cool.
be undefeated.
Absolutely. Before we kind of get into the fight stuff, how was the trip? I saw that you guys did like a family trip out there in Utah.
Oh yeah, the week after the fight, we went to Moab, Utah, and we did the 4x4 rock climbing with the jeeps and the trucks. It was so cool.
Dude, that was awesome. The pictures looked awesome. The video stuff looked great. And I'm gonna kind of pull the curtain. Like we were gonna talk last week, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm kind of at a family dinner, but I can step away for a second." I was like, "No, if you were family, do it." So it's awesome. I appreciate it. Happy to have you back on the show. And also today, I saw. Didn't you win another state award of some sort?
Oh yeah, we had our state dinner last night for wrestling, and we were supposed to have it like before, but just because everyone's schedule, we had it last night. And yeah, I got a trophy for winning state, and I had my state ring, and then I got a bulldog award, so it was cool.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on all that. All right, let's get into it. iKON 2, San Carlos, Mexico, a couple of weeks ago. First and foremost, how was it to the travel, the weight cut, all that kind of anticipation to the first fight? How was it even before you got into that ring?
Well, the traveling was fine. It was I uh actually the traveling was good for me. My mom actually had to travel 3 days because she forgot her passport, and she had to go to, yeah, it was expired, and she had to go to Florida and then to another city in Florida to go to Phoenix, like everywhere around, all around the nation. It was crazy. So she made it to weigh-ins, which the weight cut was. I think the weight cut was a little harder than the fight, uh, because it was so. It was a lot of weight. I've never cut that much, but I would do it again, not because I want to, but just because if I have to. Um, but yeah, the weight cut was. It wasn't as exciting as I thought.
Yeah, if you had to go back, what one thing now kind of going through that and going through a kind of a bad weight cut, what would you change different? Would you try to start earlier, or how would you, now 2-0, 3-0 moving forward, what would you do different with the weight cut?
I would definitely start earlier. On the day of the weigh-ins, we just started a little later than usual. So it didn't give me enough time to cut. But yeah, I think that would be the one thing I change is to have it earlier.
Okay. Okay, so now we get into the fight. All 3 rounds, 15 minutes. Was there something in the fight that you're like, whoa, I kind of surprised myself how I, fought? Or was there a huge surprise on something that your opponent did? Or kind of take us through that?
Well, the first two punches she landed on me during the first round,
Right?
kind of like woke me up. Like, oh crap, I'm fighting now. That was like the only thing that surprised me. But what I thought I kind of thought was surprising when I had that really good leg kick, the outside leg kick in the third round. I kind of surprised myself because I don't really kick, but I that was a pretty good kick. And my dad was actually pretty surprised about it too. So I thought that was cool.
No, very cool. What's the one thing that first round to the third round that you think you learned the most, or you felt different, you felt stronger? You're like, okay, I can handle this. I can handle 15 minutes. I can handle. It seems like you were in so many different transitions. You were on the ground. You were trying to go for submission. A lot of stand up. What was something from round one to the very end? You're like, okay, I learned that a lot about myself as a fighter.
I think uh, my mental toughness of keep going and like keep that high
Nice.
pace. I thought that like I think that's the number one thing I took from the fight, because I just as soon as the first round ended and I saw that she was out of breath, and I wasn't, like I knew that like I was just mentally stronger, and I knew that that's how I was gonna win the fight.
Very cool. You can kind of see in the background. So we have a picture, you, the whole family, the whole crew behind you. it was just so obvious to kind of see, of course, your dad's in your corner with your mom there. There's just so much like positive love, mojo, momentum, all that put together. How can you put that into words almost to be like, not a lot of fighters have that, and you just had that 10 times in spades. It was just like seeing it from afar. Couldn't make it out to this one. I'm going to try to make it out to the next one. We'll talk about that in a second. But how did it feel just to have your whole family, your whole team, so much support there for you?
I think it's probably the best thing to have because if you have like people to support you, you know that they're willing to do a lot for you just because of their support and love. So I love to have all of them in my corner, and they do so much.
Absolutely. Talking about another guy who does so much, Malky Kawa took the FRM jet, took it over to San Carlos, Mexico, and he's one of or the biggest agent in the game. He's been with your father for so long, and he doesn't talk a lot of smoke. Like he's real about what he talks about, and he was so adamant about Bellator next superstar, youngest champion. The future is humongous. Going back, and I know you were so much in the moment, you were so locked into the fight. Kind of, did you go back and to see how much Malky Kawa from First Round Management was so supportive and so pro Bellamir?
Well, I've known Malky for such a long
Right.
time. I've known him since I was like what 9. Yeah, like a long time, and he's basically like an uncle to me. So for him to say all that, it means a lot.
Absolutely. How about back into Syndicate MMA? I saw a picture today. So many of the females, still training, still going at it, and just you being a part of that team. I saw a great picture of them holding you up. How is it just to be in that family atmosphere in your gym?
I love that like sisterhood in the gym because not a lot of gyms have like all these girls like as many as we have at the gym to support each other, and we're basically like sisters with each other, and I just love it.
Absolutely. We're talking guys with Bellamir, 1-0 professional fighter. Still absolutely stunning to say that. Okay, so I talked to a couple people. There's already kind of baby rumors out there that you might get back into it before year's end. You don't have to say exactly what your plans are, but is that the game plan a little bit to try to get back into that iKON ring before the end of the year?
Well, yeah, I hope so to fight again in December, but yeah, my parents make that decision. They're the boss, so uh, they'll tell me when the fight will be, or if I won't have a fight.
Right, right. And kind of like going back from just the pre-fight to now, do you feel any different? Do you feel does your confidence feel good about I went through a 15-minute war. A lot of different stuff was thrown at me. You got hit. Like I said, a lot of transitions. How confident are you now? Now we're in November of 2020. How confident do you feel better from just even a month ago?
I feel more confident like like with just positions in the fight.
Mm.
Like okay, I could be in that position and not like get knocked out. Um, but no, I still think I need a couple more fights to have confidence to be able to beat anyone else up.
There you go. There you go. A couple things I do want to hit on is remember before the fight, you and we talked a little bit about Gaethje and Habib. I thought Habib was, to me, was not given enough credit for how much he's done, the undefeated and all that. And you picked Habib too. Now, he retired. It was such a big moment in mixed martial arts. Did you watch it live? What do you think of the retirement? And what do you think of even Habib Nurmagomedov, his whole career with a ribbon on it?
Oh yeah, I watched the fight and like I think that's like what I want my fighting style to be like is like Khabib's. Just because I just love wrestling in general, and I love that he's a wrestler, and I love that he could take down and beat up people that aren't wrestlers. Well, Gaethje is a wrestler, so I'm surprised he didn't use much of his wrestling. But yeah, I just love his style, and I love that he had such a great career in the UFC, and yeah, I'm excited for him.
Yeah, definitely. How about a couple two? There's two big female fights coming in the rest of the year for UFC. How Valentina Shevchenko versus Jennifer Maia. Do you have a pick on that?
Valentina,
She's
100%.
awesome. Yeah,
She's one of the greatest female fighters I'll ever live.
absolutely. Another one, and talking about greatest female fighters ever live, we have Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson coming up in a month and a half. What do you think about that fight?
Amanda. She's always been one of my top favorite female fighters.
Yeah, and one thing I think Amanda Nunes doesn't even get enough credit for. We just mentioned how much Valentina, Holly Holm, of course, back in the day with Ronda and Cyborg, and then Amanda's beat them all. Like, is that something that you would love to do as a professional one day? When you get in there, it's like not cherry pick your way. It's like, no, I want the top 5 and boom, 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 and just go through them.
Yeah, like I do want the top fighters because I always want to challenge myself, but maybe not at first in the UFC. Maybe like give myself some confidence at first, and then maybe I'll think if she doesn't retire, then maybe I think if I could fight Amanda, that would be such a good fight. That'd be like I think right now she'd probably win. I think right now she'd probably win, but that like I would give so much. Like I would be so honored to fight her.
Very cool. We'll wrap it up with this, Bella. We really do. We appreciate you, appreciate your time, appreciate the family. So maybe 6 weeks ago, of course, your name has always been in the limelight. Such a high end, just sports athlete of so many different levels. But now the name was up there. You signed with FRM officially. You had your first fight. All these medias, ESPN. It's just so much. How can you put a bow on it? Now it's kind of done. You're going to get back into it. You're kind of going to get back into camp, just on the whole media side and the press side and talking with people and just your name getting the limelight. I saw the Instagram followers. They're on fire, Bella. We see it. How does it feel, just all that with a ribbon on it?
Honestly, it still feels like it's like a dream. Like I feel like I didn't even fight a week ago. Like it literally feels like this is just like a dream that's coming true since I've always wanted to fight since I was like I can't even remember. So this is just crazy that it's all happening right now.
That's awesome. Well, Bella, appreciate you. Like I said, with daughters of my own, I love that you're an absolute role model to so many females and so many girls, with the youth growing forward. So just keep it up. The floor is yours. Any kind of, sponsors or your management or your team, your family, your mom, anyone you want to thank, floor is yours. All right.
Well, first I want to thank CBD, American Shaman. They sponsored me during the fight. I want to thank, obviously, First Round Management and Malky for managing me for my first fight and probably maybe even be the last. And I want to thank iKON, of course, for having me on the fight. That was, I mean, I've never had a fight before, so I don't know the difference. But, I've seen with my dad with Bellator and UFC, and that was just they're. Everything everything I asked for, they got it. So that was great. And then of course my coaches, John Wood, even though he couldn't make it, but he still I think he'll be in my corner if he doesn't go to Disney World. But I want him to be in the corner this next fight. And McGregor, Don McGregor, my wrestling coach, he's so good. And of course my dad. And then, of course, my brother Cage and Ronan and Marcus and my mom for being the supportive family and all my friends. I can't name them all, but I just so thankful for everyone in my life and all the support they give me.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Bella, like I said, we appreciate you. Appreciate your time. 1-0. iKON Fighting Federation probably or maybe going to get back in that ring before the year's end. We'll be super excited. iKON is very, very happy to have you, and we'll talk soon. All right, Bella?
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.